The excavation of Dublin's Mountjoy Prison is set to take place this month, which will look to exhume the bodies of people executed at the jail up until the 1950s. 29 bodies are believed to have been buried in the grounds of Mountjoy, some of whom were put to death as early as 1923. The decision to exhume the remains of these prisoners comes after the presidential pardon of Mr. Harry Gleason in 2015, who was wrongly executed for murder in 1941. He was the first person granted posthumous pardon in the history of the state. In 1940, Mr. Gleason discovered the body of his neighbour, Mary McCarthy, a mother of 7, with 2 gunshot wounds to the face. A farm labourer from Holy Cross in Tipperary, Mr. Gleason was later found guilty of her murder and hanged in April 1941. Now the excavation will take place so that Mr. Gleason's remains can be returned to his relatives for burial in the family plot. Just one woman appears on the list of 29. Annie Walsh was hanged for the murder of her husband Edward Walsh in Limerick in 1924. She was convicted alongside Mr. Walsh's nephew, Michael Talbot. 30 years older than his wife, Mr. Walsh was killed with a hatchet on October 25th. Another name that stands out is James Herbert Lehman, executed on March 19, 1945. Aside from being one of the last to be executed in Mountjoy, it is the long list of aliases that are noted beside his name that sets him apart. A Canadian ex-soldier, he was convicted of the murder of his wife Margaret by poisoning when she was pregnant with their 3rd child. While most people now would not be familiar with the name Bernard Kerwin, who was executed in June 1943, he is arguably the most famous of those on the list because he became the inspiration for Brendan Behan's play The Quare Fellow. Kerwin had spent time in prison for armed robbery before he was convicted of the murder of his brother Lawrence Kerwin. Lawrence had disappeared in 1941 and was never seen again. The discovery of a torso in a bog near the Kerwin farm in County Offaly eventually led to the arrest and conviction of Bernard Kerwin.